All right, buckle up, everybody, because we are about to dive into something pretty mind-blowing.
Well, I like where this is going.
We're talking 3D printing, but not the kind you're probably used to, those slow layer-by-layer printers.
Right.
We're talking about printing complex objects.
Like really complex.
Oh, yeah, really complex, in seconds.
Seconds.
Yeah, you heard me right, seconds. It's called dynamic interface printing, or DIP for short.
Catch.
And a team of researchers just published a paper on it in Nature.
That's a pretty big deal, Nature. Wow.
Yeah, so to break it down for us, we have an expert who can explain how this incredible technology actually works.
Well, I'm happy to be here. And I have to say, DIP is pretty revolutionary. It's really tackling one of the biggest challenges in 3D printing.
Which is?
Speed, plain and simple. Even with all the advancements in 3D printing, speed has always been a limiting factor, especially when you're working with intricate designs.
Intricate like what?
Think like tiny little gears or channels in a microfluidic device.
Ah, okay. Small and precise.
Exactly. Or even when you want to use those soft, squishy materials.
Like for bioprinting.
Yes,
Yeah.
exactly. Like when you're trying to create tissues or organs, you need those biocompatible materials that are, well, kind of like jelly.
That makes sense. Traditional 3D printing just wouldn't cut it for those kinds of things.
Right, it'd be way too slow, and the materials wouldn't hold their shape properly.
Okay, so I'm already hooked. DIP solves the speed problem, but how does it actually work? It sounds like something straight out of science fiction.
Well, hold on tight, because it is pretty wild. Imagine you dip, like a hollow straw, into a glass of water.
Okay, I'm picturing it.
Do you see that curved surface where the air and the water meet?
Yeah, the meniscus.
You got it. Now picture that meniscus as your printing surface.
That's our printing surface.
Yep, you shine a light through the straw to cure the resin into a solid layer.
So the resin hardens where the light hits it?
Exactly. And then, get this, you move the straw upwards
Upwards, okay.
and repeat the process, just like that.
So it's constantly building up layer by layer on that meniscus.
Exactly. It's like magic, but it's science.
I love that. Magic, but science. But hold on, where do the sound waves come into all of this? You mentioned sound waves earlier.
Ah, yes, that's the really ingenious part.
Lay it on me.
They use sound waves to actually create these tiny little waves on the meniscus.
Waves on top of waves.
But you'd say that. These tiny waves, they're called capillary gravity waves, and they do two amazing things. First, they help fresh resin flow into the printing area super quickly.
So like they're constantly refreshing the resin.
Yeah, exactly. And that means you can print way faster than with traditional methods.
Okay, that makes sense. Speed is key. But you said there were two things. What's the second thing these sound waves do?
Well, this is particularly important for bioprinting. The sound waves also ensure that any particles in the resin, like cells, are evenly distributed.
Ah, so no more clumping at the bottom.
Exactly. It's like they're creating this perfectly mixed cellular cocktail,
Mm.
all ready to be printed into a tissue or organ.
That's incredible. So DIP's fast, it can handle delicate materials, and it mixes everything perfectly for bioprinting. What's not to love?
Right. It's a real game changer.
I think it's safe to say I am officially intrigued. But I have a feeling this is just the tip of the iceberg.
Oh, you have no idea. We haven't even gotten to the really mind-blowing stuff yet.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so we've talked about how DIP works and why it's so cool, but let's really dig into what this thing can do.
Okay, I'm ready to be impressed. How fast are we actually talking?
Hold on to your hat, because we're talking building complex objects, like centimeter-sized, in just tens of seconds.
Wait, centimeters in second? That's insane. Traditional 3D printers would take, like, hours for that.
Absolutely. This is orders of magnitude faster than anything we've seen before.
Okay, my mind is officially blown. But what kind of complex objects are we talking about? Did the researchers actually print, like, intricate designs or just basic shapes?
Oh no, they went all out with this. They printed a whole bunch of intricate stuff, including, get this, a multi-channel fluidic manifold.
A what now?
Okay, so it's basically like a tiny, complex network of tubes for liquids.
So, like, imagine printing the plumbing system for a miniature house.
Yeah, exactly. But in seconds.
That's nuts. I bet engineers in fields like microfluidics are drooling over this.
Oh, absolutely. This is a game changer for building lab-on-a-chip devices and all sorts of miniaturized systems.
That's just wild. Okay, what else did they print?
Well, brace yourself. They also printed a model of a human heart.
A heart. Like an actual anatomical heart.
Yeah, you know, the whole shebang.
Wow, that's incredible.
Just imagine the possibilities for surgical training. Surgeons could practice on 3D printed models of a patient's actual heart before they even step into the operating room.
That would be a game changer for sure. Talk about personalized medicine.
Exactly. Okay, ready for even more?
Hit me.
They even printed a functional tricuspid valve.
Okay, back up. A what?
A tricuspid valve. It's one of the valves in your heart that controls blood flow.
Oh, wow. So they printed a working heart valve.
Yeah, pretty mind-blowing, right? And here's the kicker.
There's more.
They did all of this using an opaque alginate hydrogel.
Wait, opaque. I thought most 3D printing with light required transparent materials so the light could pass through.
You would think so, right?
Yeah.
But that's what makes DIP so special.
So how does that work?
Because the light only needs to penetrate a very thin layer at the surface to cure the resin, DIP can handle even opaque materials.
That opens up a whole new world of possibilities for material choice.
Totally. It's not just about speed and complexity, it's about versatility too.
Okay, this is all super impressive, but what about bioprinting specifically? The printing of actual tissues and organs. That's what I'm really interested in.
Right, well, they didn't disappoint there either. To show off DIP's bioprinting shops, they created a kidney-shaped structure.
A kidney? Okay, I'm listening.
And they loaded it up with human embryonic kidney cells.
Like actual living cells.
Yep, the real deal. And after 24 hours, get this, about 93% of those cells were still alive and kicking.
93%. That's a really high viability rate for bioprinting.
It is. It means that DIP is gentle enough to handle those delicate living cells, not damaging them during the printing process.
This is starting to sound like we're getting closer and closer to printing functional organs.
It's definitely a big step in that direction.
I mean, imagine being able to print personalized tissues for drug testing.
Right. It could eliminate the need for animal models and potentially make drug development way faster and more accurate.
That would be huge.
Absolutely. And what about the potential for regenerative medicine?
You mean like printing organs on demand?
Exactly. Instead of waiting for organ donors, we could potentially print organs using a patient's own cells to, avoid rejection.
Wow, it sounds like science fiction, but with DIP, it feels like we're getting closer than ever.
It really does feel like we're on the verge of something truly revolutionary.
So are there any challenges with this technology? It all seems a little too good to be true.
Well, every technology has its limits, right? One of the current limitations of DIP is the size of the print head and the resin container. That kind of dictates the maximum height of what you can print right now.
So there are still some physical constraints.
Yeah, for now. But the researchers are already working on ways to increase the printing area. It's just something to keep in mind.
Okay, that makes sense. But even with those limitations, the potential applications are still amazing.
Oh, absolutely. We're just scratching the surface here.
So where do we go from here? What are the next steps for DIP? What are the researchers excited about?
Well, they're looking into some really cool stuff. Multi-material printing is a big one.
You mean printing objects with different materials all in one go?
Exactly. Imagine a bone implant with a rigid core and then soft cartilage at the joints.
Wow, that would be incredible for medical implants.
Right. And they're also working on creating gradients of stiffness within a single printed object, which would be huge for creating even more realistic tissue models.
So like a muscle that gradually transitions from soft tissue to a tough tendon.
You got it. And get this, they can even print directly onto existing objects.
Wait, really?
Yeah, they call it overprinting. Basically, it means you can add 3D printed features to things that have already been made.
So like repairing a cracked phone screen with a 3D printed patch.
Yeah, or integrating printed electronics directly onto a circuit board.
That's mind-blowing. It's like this technology is blurring the lines between the digital world and the physical world.
It really is. It's a paradigm shift in how we think about manufacturing and design.
DIP is fast, versatile, precise, and it can even handle living cells. Is there anything it can't do?
I know, right? It feels like we're living in the future.
I mean, with overprinting, wow, the possibilities seem endless.
They really do. But it gets even more interesting, get this.
More interesting, really?
Oh, yeah. The researchers are figuring out how to, create gradients within a structure, but not just of different materials.
Oh, okay. Gradients of what then?
Gradients of growth factors or other bioactive molecules.
So instead of just printing the scaffold for a tissue, you could actually guide the cells to grow in specific ways.
Exactly. It'd be like giving the cells a blueprint to follow, telling them what to become,
That is amazing. It's like giving them instructions to form specific tissues or mini organs.
Yeah, exactly. That kind of control over cell behavior, it's groundbreaking.
I can't even imagine what we could do with that kind of technology, like printing personalized organs that are perfectly matched to a patient.
Right. No more waiting for organ donors, no more risk of rejection. It's incredible to think about.
It's like something out of science fiction.
It really is. And even though DIP is still in its early stages, the potential is just, well, massive.
So for our listeners out there, we've taken a deep dive today into this revolutionary new 3D printing technique.
Dynamic interface printing, that's DIP.
We've seen how it works, we've explored its advantages, and wow, the potential applications are just mind-boggling.
Everything from manufacturing to medicine, it's really a game changer.
Now it's your turn to think big. What could DIP unlock in your world?
Yeah, what kind of breakthroughs can you imagine?
Could we see personalized medicine tailored to, like, your unique genetic makeup?
What about bio-integrated devices? Technology that seamlessly merges with the human body.
Or even wilder, living architecture that grows and changes with the environment?
The possibilities with DIP are endless, and it's up to all of us to explore its potential.
Absolutely. We encourage you to check out the full research article in Nature, the link's in the show notes.
Let your imagination run wild.
That's all the time we have for today. Thank you for joining us on this deep dive into the world of dynamic interface printing.
Keep exploring, keep questioning, and most importantly, keep diving deep.
Until next time.